Good afternoon, folks. How you doing? Well, guess who's out on the bench getting some fresh air for a change? Finally got some low humidity, and I can let the fresh air come into the shed. So we're just putting the fan here, and we're going to try to do a little bit of work on the gordos board, trying it out in the in Uncle Dorkel. I can feel the air circulating around. It's been suggested that you just need air movement. It's so crowded in here, air can't get into too many places. But anyways, I can notice the shed is just slightly less musty. Maybe I'm just getting used to it as the humidity drops outside. But anyways, we've got the door open here too. I had to use some bleach in here to clean off the mildew that was on here. So we let that get aired out a little bit. The telephone, I cleaned it up, was loaded with mildew. The whole thing was loaded. This is not mildew here, this is paint. And what I did is several days ago, I cleaned it up with bleach cleaner, and then I put a light coating of oil and wiped it on there, and that seems to keep the mildew away. I couldn't believe how fast this picked up mildew. So we'll leave that sit like that, let that get some fresh air too. So I'm going in the shop, and I'm going to get some tools out and get the gordos board out. And I guess we can... hello in there. Yeah. Eyes are wide open, folks. He's just waiting. Okay, I got the wireless receiver out so I can work on it. I disconnected the mount solenoid from this relay, and I got it connected to the gordos board here and operating the push button. We had to supply 12 volt plus over here because this is a switch, basically turns it on and off, the relay, and we had to supply a plus and minus here. This is the plus from the battery. Should have used the red wire, but that's okay. And then the minus, of course. So right now as you can see, as fast as I push that button, that's not a problem. That'll work great. But what I want to do is to see if I can get a voice activated circuit in place of this push button. But if that don't work, or it is too much of a hassle doing it, as I said, I'll just run thin wires and I'll use this very button here on a tiny remote, which would be used along with this. So I could mount both of these on a small piece of plastic or even a little small block of wood, and this would be the wireless. Of course, this here still works. Okay, so that still works, and this was C was the mount trigger. Right now it's nothing connected to that. D was the mount trigger. Okay, D. C was the A, B, C was the eyes. Okay, so those two aren't connected. So right now, this wireless board A and B on the push buttons, A, B, C, and D, as you're reading these relays. This is, one's going to be the head left, the other one's the head right. The mouth and the eyes are not hooked up here anymore. The eyes never were, because I need to run that to this resistor, which is just stuck here so I wouldn't lose it. Of course, I got the main switch, see? Main switch, panic switch, in case I have to shut it off quick, because I may not get the battery terminals off. This is my $2 meter I bought at a yard sale. Let me see. I'll turn that off right now. Save the batteries. And these are the leads I paid $1 for, because this didn't have leads at the Jewett City Flea Market. So looking at the gordos board is what I call a gordos board that Jim Asbell built for me. The gordos board is powered by 12 volts from the main battery, and the solenoid has to have plus DC on one side, which it does. It goes through the relay here and activates the solenoid itself, the mouth solenoid, which is the white wire here that goes to this red wire and then goes throughout the circuitry and operates the mouth solenoid. Okay, so this is going to work out really well. I think with this type of relay here, we may get a little faster response. See, as fast as I push that, okay, you can hear the mouth going. But don't forget, this is a mechanical button here. I need to get it to work with audio. So this board will go in, back in here. I just put some red lines in here so that I can see where they go. And I'll find a place to put this board, maybe over on this wall over here, or maybe even up here, because I'm not going to be putting, I only got the one arm motor, and it's going to have to go over on that wall when I get to that situation. So this wireless can control the arm motor if that comes to be. But one thing at a time now. While this is all out, what I want to do is go into the shop. I've got a little relay. I've got a couple of little relays here. Let me see if I can find them and bring them out here to you. You may not be able to see it because I'm on the ZE1, but let me read off what these relays are. I found another relay in that box of stuff that I got from Jewett City a couple weeks ago. Okay, I'm using the ZE1. I got a magnifier here. I got this relay here. Take my word for it. The coil is 5 volts DC. The contacts are 10 amp at 125 volts. Now I'll turn it over here. It's got a pattern here. As you look on the picture, on the video here, that there's two terminals on the left and 3 on the right. And the best way I can show that is with this drawing, which is primitive, over here. Okay, this is what I was able to draw out of it. So I assume this is the coil. Nothing is drawn that goes here, but there seems to be something drawn off of here, and then this is the contacts that flip over this way. So these are the contacts over here. Alright, so anyways, this is a printed circuit type of relay, but it's 5 volt DC coil, so that might work coming out of the cassette machine through a rectifier and through a small electrolytic, so that the time constant will be short. Or I've got this relay, which I've had since the 70s. Let me read that to you. It's an Allied control. I can't see anything here. I'm getting awful glare, so I hope you can see that. Allied control, 12 volt DC, 150 ohm. I mentioned this. Anyways, hopefully you can see that. So this was originally used on the burglar alarm system, which I designed and built in the attic workshop. This controlled the various circuits in the for the door switches and stuff like that, and actually control the rest of the house. So this is something I got surplus for many years ago. So, but this one has a 5-volt DC coil in it, but it's printed circuit and it's super tiny for me to work with. I can probably get clip leads on it, but the contacts, there's 2 terminals here and 3 over here. According to the diagram, which I showed you here, that's the easiest way, the closest way I can draw that. It was very difficult for me to see that on there because it's embossed, raised embossed on there. And I'm not sure. I would imagine the 2 outer terminals, there's 3 on this side, are the coil. I would have to bring that in the shop to see, but I can probably put a meter on it. I'll do that off camera here and see what I get. I'm going to do that now and I'll get right back to you. But it is a 5-volt DC coil, and the contacts are rated at 10 amps, which is going to be very good, but not even needed, because these contacts here are going to replace this push button here, and that's very low current. Oh, wait a minute now. Okay, I know. All right, I got this powered directly off the battery. That's why the switch is off and it's still working. Okay, not a problem. This is all experimental anyways. Okay, it's 69 ohms. So the 2 outer terminals here is the coil. It's kind of weird the way they do it, but I just drew that the way the symbol showed on it. So I would assume the center contact is the arm of the relay, which will go here to here. So that's easy enough to figure out. So what I need to do is to put a rectified audio signal in here. On the 2 outer terminals here of the relay, to a rectifier and to a small capacitor. All I have is that little cassette recorder as an amplifier, unless I use my ICO 147A signal tracer as an amplifier, but I don't want to do that. I want everything solid state, and I'm not going to bring that thing out here. I don't have an audio amplifier that I can think of right at the moment, and it needs to be small anyway, so probably, I guess the cassette player would probably be a good thing to try out. So why don't we do that? We got to do some jockeying around here, and we got to get this relay output, the actual relay contacts, to be fed in place of this push button. The only problem is I only have music tapes. I don't have any audio tapes that are on voice. I could use a Tascam DR05. I can put a voice in there. I guess I can do that. Matter of fact, that's what I think I will do. Okay, I hope I got enough clip leads. I'm going to have to pull some more out of the shop. I've been having a lot of trouble with these cheap leads there that they, not this particular one, but you know, when you push down on it, the rubber slides, and you're fighting with these things all the time. I've thrown a few out, cut the clips off, and saved the wire and threw the clips out. So I may have to start buying some more. Harbor Freight did have them. I don't know if they still have them. But anyways, I got the Tascam DR05 here. I've got a little simple diode. I tested it. It's okay. And we're not using electrolytic, we're using a 0.1 microfarad capacitor. This happens to be a 630 volt, but that don't matter. And what we're going to do is, it don't matter about polarity. I just want to see, we want audio pulses coming through. So we'll try a 0.1 and see what kind of response we get. This will be filtered, partially filtered through this capacitor, and then that will feed pulsating DC to this little coil here, right over here in this little relay. Being that that's a 5-volt relay, it's going to be a lot better than that 12-volt one I showed you, but it's going to be very difficult for me to solder on these tiny little terminals. I guess I can do it, but it's going to be awful. It's like threading a needle. Alright, I hope this is going to be loud enough. What'd you do, Ma? Put turds in the beef stew again? Okay, so now I'll show you what I did here, but I may be way off base on this. I have the output. This is the wire I'm going to plug into the Tascam DR05. It's not a stereo output, it's monaural. Hopefully that don't mess up plugging it in. Okay. The end of this cord, this is the hot. It goes through this little diode here and is being semi-filtered with a 0.1 capacitor. This is the common black, feeds back to the shield, which in turn goes across the relay coil. The other end of the relay coil is receiving the pulsating DC. The contacts, the center lead where I showed you on this diagram, it's upside down, but that figures. The center is the wiper, I guess, hand, whatever you call it, is part of the relay. It goes across the push button. I connected it here, which is easy to make a connection, won't short out that way. The other end goes across here, so it's, if all goes well, this should be voice activated with the Tascam. What'd you do, Ma? Put turds in the beef stew again? Alright, so let's try that out. Well, that's the recording. I got it plugged in, but I didn't think it would work. There's just not enough power there. I need a damn amplifier, and I don't have one. I'm going to bring out the cassette recorder. I got to stick some batteries in. I got to try to find it. I have to use a music tape because I don't have any blank tapes to make a voice recording. I can look around and see if I have one. So, okay. I got to turn the volume all the way up here. Okay. Hang on a minute, I'll plug this thing in. Well, that is, as loud as that is, that's not doing it either. Well, I'm on the 2.5 volt full scale AC. I'm reading the AC coming out of this. And you can see how little voltage I've got, and I got this thing cranked up. Let's turn it all the way up here. Alright. Alright, she's almost peaking out. Pretty close to 2.5 volts AC. Remember, I'm getting AC off of this. So this relay needs 5 volts DC. So let me see if I can get a reading of DC off of this. And it's going to be very difficult because I didn't bring the tripod out. But let me see if I can get a DC reading out of this now. Okay, I'm getting, I'm on a 2.5 volt full scale. So I'm getting roughly about 2 1/4 volts, and that thing's cranked right up. So we can't even use this. You can see I'm blasting the hell out of that. So, well, I have no idea. I can't check for audio because we're just not getting enough DC voltage out of this. What we need to do is to get a good 5 volts DC coming out of this pulsating each time the voice. Now I'm using music, which is really not what I want to use for this. But the music is more or less continuous, so it should give me an average here, which is what it's doing, approximation. Probably, I would say, an average of 2 volts DC after rectification. Now, if I increase this capacitor, all it's going to do is just be more of a stable voltage, and if you put too big of a capacitor on here, it'll give you more DC out, but that's not what you want. You want a pulsating so that it changes, it goes on and off with the voice. So we're going to have to end this video right now because Dorkel's mouth is working very well with the gordos board and this arrangement, but we don't have an amplifier. We need, I think I'm going to say probably 10 watts, maybe 20 to be safe, and that would even power these speakers. So I would probably say a 20 watt audio amplifier in here should work quite well. So this is all experimental. I did want to get out this and do this video here. So that's where we're at, and we may just scrap the idea of trying to have this audio operated and just make the long wire, thin wire remote and be done with it, so we can move on to other things with buying amplifiers that may not do the job. So I think we're going to end this video now. I'll turn this off. Put the wires, it took almost all my clip leads out of the shop. Isn't that something? All right, so that's it. I just wanted to make this video. We're going to let Dorkel sit out here and let him get aired out, because I'm sure he's musty. I'm so used to musty smells that my nose don't even sense it anymore, but I don't see any mildew on him, but I can smell it in the shirt. But when you're 118 years old now, born in 1900, as a character, if you follow the character, pretty old. You know, he's getting a little, on the tape here you can see all the outline of the different tape pieces I put in here. It is a subwoofer. His mid-range is way up here. The board needs to be out when I'm doing this work, so that I can put my clip leads on it and do my experimentations. And then when I'm ready to put everything together, we will wire properly here, because I can't do it inside, and then put everything back in. So Uncle Dorkel, you can take in some fresh air, which I can honestly say it's beginning to get back to normal again after all these months of high humidity. The top of my shed is green, but that happens all the time anyways. I think every roof in the area around here is green, or white lily pads. thanks for watching, and we'll give you an update as time goes on and as I accumulate more materials to finish this job. I hope to be able to get an Uncle Dorkel Halloween special, but the way things are going, I doubt very highly we're going to be getting any skits in, because I need him to be working better than he is right now. Have a good day. Thanks for watching.
I am coming back! All of you out there, fair warning! I am here to stay! What the hell are you looking